I'm giving them like a cool visual trip.
Andy, you're gonna get dizzy.
I'm not gonna get dizzy. There's no dizziness here. Oh God, oh God. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Ow! Ow! Help me. Help me.
Ugh. Look at this shit. Just look at it. Who watches this? Who is this for? No production, no script, no topics. This isn't entertainment, and it's certainly not content. This is masturbation. This is public masturbation, and nobody seems to feel any shame about it. How did we get here? Not him specifically. I mean, how did we get here as a society where we're okay with someone broadcasting their absolute worst side to the world? I'll answer that. The story begins with a show that, over its 3 different iterations over more than a decade, innovated comedy through unscripted obnoxiousness, intentionally alienating the audience, and even baiting 4chan trolls into trolling the show. The story starts long before YouTube, long before camera phones, and even before reality television. The story starts in 1994 in Ottawa, Ontario, with the birth of a worldwide phenomenon known as the Tom Green Show.
This is the Tom Green Show. It's not the Green Tom Show. This is my favorite show because it's my show. If this was your show, you'd probably like it more than I did. That's just because it was your show. But it's not your show. It's the Tom Green Show.
At a time when comedy on television was almost always structured in the classic setup, punchline structure, and was accompanied by a laugh track, Juno Award-nominated rapper Tom Green hit the airwaves of Rogers 22, a community public access channel with a somewhat novel idea, and that was that he doesn't have to be funny. Instead, what he could do is perform tasks so outlandish, so bizarre, that people had no choice but to react. And by reacting, the people would be funny instead of him. First, I kind of feel patronizing doing this, but I feel I need to explain what public access television is. Back in the days before YouTube, if you wanted people to watch you do a show, you had 2 options. You could pitch your show to a network, get a ton of producers and executives involved, have them water down your idea, pour millions of dollars into it, and probably get someone better than you to be on it. And that's if you're exceptionally lucky. 1 in a million shot. Or you could go down to your local public access broadcaster, which aired community-minded local programming. You don't get paid, and if you're very, very lucky, you get an audience of 200 stoned college kids laughing at how stupid you look, and 1 city councilor trying to get his finger on the pulse of local matters. The Tom Green Show started out on the latter. The Tom Green Show was unique in that, as a talk show, the host was rude, inattentive, and mocking.
1981. Actually, this is something else I think. One last sign, okay? And then we'll talk about 1981 for a second. Steak, 1 word, it's the best.
That's right, because we believe in our product and we feel we do the best steak in town.
See, but Armand, this is the reason that I really wanted to talk about the Waffle House. Because to me, I'm not really that good at grammar and stuff like that. Okay? But I noticed, though, to me, whenever I saw this, I saw steak, 1 word, it's the best.
There is no second best. You have to be the best.
Right.
If you want to sell it, you have to be the best.
So then I'm assuming the author meant that the word steak is the 1 word.
That's right. It's a 1 word.
And those are the 3 words then.
Yeah, it's the best.
Because I would have, this is just me, I don't want to all creative control on the Waffle House or anything, but to me though, I would have thought it would have been neat to, if it's a steak, 3 words. It's the best.
Next time we'll do it especially for you, and we'll come back on your show.
And what really struck a chord with the audience wasn't the talk show portions of it, but the segments which were filmed around Ottawa, where Tom Green would shamelessly terrorize the public.
Hi, I was wondering if you had any men's fragrances that would smell good on me, because I'm trying to make myself more appealing to the opposite sex, if that's possible. Spray a little of that on my neck. Because I'm trying to make myself more appealing to the opposite sex.
Another staple of the show is Tom's constant abuse of his partner Glenn Humplick.
I got a bag of milk in my pants, Glenn. I got a bag of milk in my pants! I got a bag of milk in my pants, yeah! I got a bag of milk in my pants! I got a bag of milk in my pants, yeah! I got a bag of milk in my pants! I got a bag of milk in my pants, yeah! I got a bag of milk in my pants!
And of course, tormenting his parents.
Even though my brother had warned me, I kept working on the house. I knew my parents were going to be proud. I knew my mom and dad were going to love it. It was going to be the best house in the whole world. Rock. That's what I thought, until they got home the next day. There he was, the car pulled up. It looked like he liked it at first. I thought my mom kind of liked it too, but, well.
You painted the house? Oh, marvelous. Have you got a job and a half? The car is gone.
I did all the lawn too. I watered the plants.
My car will be sold. I'm calling the guy.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
You have 2 days to get that painted back.
What are you talking about painted back?
Painted white, the way it was.
What are you talking about painted white? I just worked 2 days painting it.
The car
This couldn't be
sold.
happening. It can't be happening.
Yeah.
My dad was threatening to sell my car, the car that he bought for me. My car. You can't sell my car. I did it to be nice. I painted the house to be nice, Dad.
Sold. Sold car.
No.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Car is sold.
Dad, I worked hard here. Dad. I worked hard here
Car
on this.
is sold.
I worked hard here on this. I worked all day on this.
Yeah.
Should at least say thank you.
Sold car.
Should at least say thank you, Dad. It's unfair. Look at this. Look at all the work. Look at all the brushes. Oh, that's a goalie. I made a goalie for you.
Yeah.
Stop burglars. My dad didn't like the house. He didn't like the wooden goalie. And you think that's bad? My mom wouldn't even talk to me. Here she is hiding in the washroom, hiding behind the door. And you want to see how many times she slammed that door right in my face? Why? What? Mom, it looks nice. You like that kind of art stuff? Look at the way you did the ducks along the top of the washroom. You know? That's kind of like what I did on the house.
Eventually, with some support from the Comedy Network, the Tom Green Show became popular with young people across Canada. Working on a shoestring budget and frequently having to travel long distances between towns to promote the show, Tom Green had to improvise props for his appearances. And along the vast highways surrounded by dense forests of Canada, roadkill quickly became an audience favorite. So much so that when appearing on Open Mic with Mike Bullard, which was Canada's attempt at a late-night comedy talk show, Tom brought along a dead raccoon, which he proceeded to shave, giving the whole nation of Canada a taste of his particular brand of comedy.
Right? And I'm all done up to the nines here in my new shirt. He brings in our show's mascot, and it's all scruffy, okay? Yeah. That's the thing. And I'm looking at him kind of pissed off.
Tom, is there a dead thing in that bag?
It's not... See, we went on a road trip this summer.
Yeah. Oh, Tom, don't. Oh, Tom.
I've got a new shirt.
Don't come over here.
Okay?
Tom.
And it's all scruffy. And I say to him, you know...
Tom.
See, I put effort into it, right? I want to look good, okay? I want to look good in the show, all right?
Hang on. Stay tuned, number one, for the real statics. Hang on, Tom. And number two, a surprise visit from the Humane Society.
Now, at this time, MTV was moving away from music programming to a brand new type of television, reality TV. The advantage of reality television over traditional programming was not how entertaining it was or how cool it was. MTV convinced people it was entertaining and convinced people it was cool. Back then, you could do that. No, the only real reason they wanted reality television was how incredibly cheap it was to produce. When in the old days you would need writers, actors, line producers. With reality TV, all you needed to do was put some retards in a house and watch the fireworks. It was brilliant, but it's very important to remember that cutting costs is the only reason for the phenomenon. Soon, MTV took notice, and Tom Green was given an opportunity to pitch his show. During the pitch meeting, Tom claims he covered himself in shaving cream, convulsed like an idiot, screamed, "I want to be on MTV," showed video of himself sucking a cow's udder, and got shaving cream on the executive in charge of programming. Tom Green had something MTV wanted, and it wasn't his innovative comedy. It wasn't his star potential. No. MTV could manufacture all of that. It was the 90s, and they controlled what was cool. What Tom Green had is 5 years of content that the American public had never seen, that had already been essentially tested out on Canadian young people on the Comedy Network, and it was a guaranteed hit. And so, MTV bought The Tom Green Show, and Tom Green came to America. Two problems arose from coming to MTV for The Tom Green Show. First, MTV's aggressive promotion of The Tom Green Show meant that the entire country knew who Tom Green was, making pranks more and more difficult to pull off. People knew who Tom Green was and what he was all about. It wasn't like the old days when he had a tiny audience of college students and could just terrorize the public. He was a bona fide celebrity doing a gimmick, and as a result, had to resort to even weirder gimmicks, like bizarre celebrity appearances, such as a whole special done with Monica Lewinsky. Second, MTV executives didn't fully understand the product they had purchased and wanted to exert more and more control over the show, toning down the more outrageous stunts in favor of bits that could make Tom, and by extension MTV, look cool. In an interview with CPAC, Tom Green recounts an executive telling him to edit a bit because it showed an old woman reacting to Tom's hijinks, and it didn't suit the image they wanted for MTV.
So that was kind of when we got on MTV, we had all these videos, and I'd thought about them all very, very scientifically. You know, like this shot of this, I would know when I'd be going around on the ground doing something silly, and then we'd cut to this shot of this old lady looking at me, or falling on the crutches, walking on crutches in Vancouver.
That's all.
Yeah. You know, thanks, guys. Thanks a lot. Oh! Falling down. And then it would cut to the shot of the old lady looking like, oh, was this guy all right? And MTV would go in, or not MTV, this particular couple of executives would go in, and they'd say, oh, we can't have any old ladies on the show. We can only have people under the age of 35 on MTV, so we have to cut that out. I'm like, don't you understand? We're making fun of old people here. Kids like that, you know. We're making fun of the old lady, and that's why people are going to laugh because we're taking the piss out of the status quo. So that was the argument. It went on and on and on. Eventually, you know, they'd take something out, I'd put it back in, I'd go in the edit room and put it back in. The editor would be like, okay, he'd put it back in. Then they'd send it to the executive would send it out, they'd take it out, put it back in, take it out. And then showtime would come, and I'd have about like 3/4 of what I actually wanted in.
Yeah.
Also, an innovative prank involving the internet interfered with the flagship MTV show Total Request Live. Tom Green wrote a song about his bum made a video and got his audience to vote for it to appear on the show.
My bum is on the gum. My bum is on the gum. I can blow a bubble with my bum bum bum. My bum is on the ship, the battleship. I hope they don't shoot the cannon in my bum and shoot poo all over the place. Poo, cause that is very fun when they shoot a cannon in your bum. I like to put my bum on things. It's fun for everyone. I like to put my...
Within days, it became the #1 most requested song. As TRL had no prior knowledge of the song, this would have exposed the fact that Total Request Live was not only not live, but that the requests didn't matter. The show should have just been called Total, but Tom Green was instructed to pull the song in order to protect the reputation of the network. Despite some minor setbacks, Tom Green was on top of the world, having starred in major motion pictures and about to release one he had written himself. The MTV show was a cultural phenomenon, and having acted in Charlie's Angels, Tom got to meet and get closer to his future celebrity wife, Drew Barrymore. But then, suddenly, in March of 2000, the show stopped production.
My bum is on the cheese! Bum is on the cheese! If I get lucky, I'll get a disease! Well, I got lucky. I got a disease, right?
Yeah.
Cancer, right? Testicular cancer, right?
Yep.
And that's what today's show is all about. Back in January, my right testicle started hurting. It was all swollen, and I was kind of embarrassed, and I went to a doctor, and the doctor told me that I had epididymitis. You know what that is, Glenn?
You told me about it.
Yeah, it's a bacterial infection of the balls. He told me the swelling would go down, the swelling would go away. The swelling did not go away, so I went to the University of Southern California Medical Center, home of some of the best urologists in the world, and they immediately told me that it was cancer. They touched my testicle with their fingers, which we'll be doing later in the show, and he said it was cancer, the doctor. I went in for surgery a couple of days later, and I had my right testicle removed. And it was pretty embarrassing, you know, because now all of a sudden I've got one ball.
Yeah, but it works.
All of a sudden I'm the guy. All of a sudden I'm the guy on MTV with one ball. All of a sudden, you know, the guy with one nut.
It's a pretty delicate thing to talk about, you know.
Yeah.
After playing with his balls in the shower, Tom Green noticed a lump, which turned out to be cancer. To be extra safe, he would have his lymph nodes taken out, an operation he claims he has still not fully recovered from, due to the fact that he was gutted like a fish. Trigger warning, you're about to see Tom's intestines. Look away or some shit. Seriously, I'm about to show him getting cut open and having his intestines taken out. Alright, cue intestines. Tom would document his time before, after, and most shockingly, during surgery for the Tom Green Show Cancer Special. Quite possibly the most intimate portrait of the comedian as he faces his own mortality and gets really, really fucked up on morphine. The special acted as a sort of swan song for the Tom Green Show. As months into Tom's recovery, MTV found a new low-budget cash cow that was younger, hipper, and sexier. Jackass.
Get ready to be happy, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny Knoxville is going to jump the entire lake. He's amazing. Whoa!
While the show is undeniably distinct from the Tom Green Show in format and tone, the Jackass crew happily recycled much of the material from the Tom Green Show, from the waking up the parents bit to feigning helplessness while falling off crutches. There's a video by Jimmy Popbabop called Who Was First, Tom Green or Jackass? And it shows just how many of the early Jackass stunts were directly stolen from the Tom Green Show, and it's pretty amazing. Furthermore, as MTV owned both the Tom Green Show and Jackass, Tom didn't really have much recourse in protecting his material from further co-opting and theft. It wasn't his material anymore. He had sold it to MTV, and they had simply repackaged it. What this meant was that The recovering Tom Green, who was still suffering from chronic pain and missing a testicle, would have to compete with a whole team of young punks doing his bits if he were to return. And for a while, he didn't. And when he finally did in 2003 with the new Tom Green show, it was probably a mistake. His stunts now seemed mild and dated when compared with the outrageous Jackass crew, while his interviewing now focused on real celebrities of whom he was kind of respectful and he was really restrained around. The new Tom Green show was canceled within months of its premiere, and likely the only event it is remembered for is exposing how bitter and angry Tom Green had become when guest Jesse James Dupree chainsaw fucked his custom Johnny Carson replica desk and Tom had a bitch fit.
Oh yeah, please welcome Jesse James Dupree.
How you doing, brother? Good
Well,
to see you.
I was doing all right. I'm actually, to be honest with you. So,
This is rock and roll.
so, who told you could saw a desk up?
Well, I checked my bank account and I had just enough to pay for one just like this.
Yeah, okay.
So I figured what the...
I hope so, because you're going to have to.
Okay,
All right.
That's
No,
what
actually,
send a bill to the record company.
What's that?
That's what record company.
Okay, no, I hope they're prepared to pay for it, because
There
I'd
you
be
go.
awesome pissed off right now. No, I mean, no, I'm actually kind of really pissed off right now. Are you angry about this? or-
Did I know about this?
Yeah.
I did not. He told me to do it. No, no, no. No, he didn't. I'm just. I will get it. I take full responsibility.
No, I know what you. How much did the desk cost?
Thousands of dollars.
Yeah, thousands. Because we had it made. We had it specially made.
Well, they told me
Thousands
they told me it was
of
handed down through the Green family.
Oh, I know
for
you're
hundreds
coming
of
out
years.
here and you're trying to be crazy and you're with your little saw.
Well, no, that's I go out every night and up with my little saw.
Yeah,
so-
no, it's probably really funny. Yeah, it's really funny. Yeah. Does it get a laugh normally or?
Just,
Yeah,
just
okay.
all kinds of.
Oh, well, that's cool. So, tell me about your little rinky-dink show that you do.
Actually, it's just a damn rock and roll show. Just full tilt, two guitar, bass, and drums, chainsaw, if you will, whatever it takes to get the job done.
Yeah, yeah. And you do a lot of funny stuff like this, like up people's stuff.
Without innovation and having been co-opted by a sadomasochistic gay improv troupe, the new Tom Green show was really doomed from the start. Tom Green would now have to go back to the beginning and create something brand new. Again, back to the drawing board. Good luck, Tom. Tom Green started out on public access television because realistically it was the only way at the time that his show could ever find an audience. Conventional television and terrestrial radio were the only avenues to be seen and heard at the time. However, by 2006, this was changing. In 2005, Howard Stern and Opie and Anthony proved that satellite radio was a viable alternative to terrestrial radio. And with the spread of broadband, internet television was becoming a reality. What had not existed at the time, however, was a live streaming call-in internet talk show. Tom Green partnered with ManiaTV.com and built a studio in his Hollywood house in order to create the world's first live-to-stream call-in talk show, and it caught the attention of many of his friends and Hollywood neighbors. With the new Tom Green Live, Tom was able to get some pretty impressive celebrity guests who likely saw the show as a viable promotional vehicle. The most memorable celebrity appearance of the time was arguably the October 10th, 2006 appearance by Steve-O from Jackass, who drank heavily while huffing whippets for 4.5 hours, at the end of which he drank a bottle of salad dressing, threw up on Tom's floor, and passed out. This incident, of which I couldn't find any video, but it demonstrates perfectly why Tom Green Live worked in the beginning. Why this giant risk of building a studio initially paid off. The absence of an FCC in internet broadcasting meant that people could drink and do drugs. The setting of it being Tom Green's house meant that guests were disarmed and comfortable, feeling more like guests at a friend's rather than guests on a show. And finally, the lack of a time slot meant the show could run as short or as long as he wanted. Not all of Tom Green's audience would follow him to this radically new format, however, and a new audience was built. That audience was 4chan.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Oh, hi. I'm Xenon. And hi, Tom Green. Tom Green, can you do a barrel roll for me?
A barrel roll?
Yeah, a barrel roll. On air.
A barrel roll?
Yeah, a barrel roll.
A barrel roll?
A barrel roll.
A barrel roll?
A barrel roll.
A barrel roll.
A barrel roll.
A barrel roll?
Yeah.
I like that guy. That was cool.
Gaining 4chan as an audience was a double-edged sword for Tom. On one hand, they seemed hell-bent on ruining his show and ordering him far more pizzas than he likely wanted. On the other hand, they were likely the most dedicated audience members, consuming the most of his product. And while occasionally some malice was expressed between the two, like this angry, likely drunken post by Tom. Also, to the prankers out there, a quick note I wanted to pass along. I like you guys and your attitude, but anything that goes too far will be addressed legally. We have already been in touch with the Cybercrimes Division of the FBI, and we have a computer forensics expert now on the case. Any threats or illegal behavior will be prosecuted to the fullest extent, and guess what? We are now able to obtain anybody's IP address, even on supposed websites where you think those IP addresses are blocked. Guess what? They're not. So let's keep it cool and have some fun, because I really don't want anyone to get into trouble because of our little show. I know sometimes when you are young, you can end up making decisions in the moment that you later regret. Consider it a warning. We have a very serious computer forensics team on the case starting today. You will be found and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Keep it cool. Go prank C-SPAN and send me the tape. You guys rock. All of you. Even you guys at B. I love you guys. Funny shit. TG. There seemed to be more of a give and take than anything. Tom never attempted to screen calls despite having more than enough staff and resources to do so. Tom's anger often seemed hammed up for the camera and accompanied with a wink and a nod. The show Girl Talk was almost like a sacrificial lamb for the channel.
Girl Talk.
Hey, I wanted to know your thoughts on bestiality, and should I keep doing it or not?
I would say no.
But I don't want to give it up now. Not when it's at its peak.
Why?
Tom also seemed to create a show specifically for the trolls in the fan favorite Poolside Chats. Poolside Chats was hosted by Neil Hamburger, who would have typically an indie musician on as a guest, and the two would then, at length, answer prank calls, messing with the callers, and genuinely having fun. In hindsight, Poolside Chats was what Tom Green Live probably should have been. However, after only 6 episodes, Poolside Chats went on an indefinite hiatus.
Bonnie,
Yeah.
you have a loose asshole.
Define loose.
Very loose.
Like, how loose?
Like, you can put a football up there and it'll fall right out.
That's your definition of loose?
Oh, that's loose.
Then no, I do not have a loose asshole.
All right, we finally got a reasonable caller with a sensible question, which you were able to answer quickly, and we can get on to the next call. Wonderful. Thank you. We appreciate your call. We hope to hear more from you.
For the next 4 years, the channel moved forward, finding some success such as winning awards, being downloaded dozens of millions of times on iTunes, and gaining several corporate sponsorships, as well as being rebroadcast in a censored form on cable television, proving the viability of internet television as a business. However, after Mania TV and Tom Green decided to end their partnership, the economic aspect of the business became unstable, and even with a paid subscription option for viewers, there was never really enough income to cover the costs. And finally, in 2010, Tom Green Live, now known as Tom Green's House Tonight, was put on an indefinite hiatus. Several attempts have been made since to revive the show, both on the internet and on cable television, such as a brief stint at AXS TV. However, with numerous alternatives for comedian-led podcasts and live streams, Tom Green became a less viable means of promoting a product. Shows like The Joe Rogan Experience dominated the market of in-home studio, celebrity-led internet talk shows. Also, Tom seemed no longer willing to interact with internet trolls, making both aspects of his show no longer available to him. Once again, Tom Green took a giant risk to create something new and bold. Once again, he stepped away from it, only to come back and find that it had been co-opted and the new market would be impossible for him to compete in. His last attempt to bring back the format, now known as Webovision, appears to have been in 2015, with videos struggling to get just 1,000 views, likely no bigger than his audience when he had started on Rogers 22, community public access, in Ottawa, Ontario. This isn't the story of Tom Green. He has a much wider career and a much happier story. This is just the story of the Tom Green Show, and as far as I'm concerned, these 3 iterations of the show are the only ones true to the Tom Green Show canon, as much as a canon can exist with a nonfiction show. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. But it's a tragic story. It's a story of big risks, big payoffs, of making something new and watching it die, of selling your creation only to have it used to stop you from creating. It's a story of building an audience only to grow to hate them. And above all else, it's a story of constant innovation and creativity. Now look at this shit.
Add zoom. Okay, sped.
Okay. Can you do the Magnum? What is it? Can you do Magnum from Zoolander?
Yeah, I don't know who's saying it's not Ralph. He's legit like spurging out in here. It's in the Plate Gang Discord.
What are... Andy breaks hip before a big trip.
Look beyond the fact that there's not an ounce of entertainment to it. Ask yourself, what's being innovated here? What risks are being taken here? Getting kicked out of McDonald's? What creativity is there here? You strip away everything that made the Tom Green Show interesting and just keep a dipshit being obnoxious in public, and you're left with this public masturbation. Why does this even exist? Fuck this.